Hello, I'm Raziel, and so I've got a couple of things I want to talk about today. Nothing too serious, just a couple of thoughts breeding in the old noggin. And as you know, as always, it's about your feedback as much as it was me yammering on. Now, the first one is obviously the one that I tend to be more interested in and speak about a lot of is pricing and expenses of this hobby. And not just Warhammer and Games Workshop, but everyone else as well. Now, what I really just think about is Warhammer and tabletop really the most expensive hobby? My precious offspring has decided that Lego is now the hobby of choice. And so, me and my partner decided to go out and look at Lego sets today. Because, Christmas is going to cut people up on us, and, we want to make sure that Father Christmas has the right thing for them. So we were there looking, and some of the prices were ridiculous. We're talking £50, £70, and so I decided to look online as well, and some of the Star Wars kits, of the most expensive, is over £700 for a Lego set. Now I know people can say, well, in Forge World you've got the big Warlord Titan and he costs over £1,000. Okay, fair enough, that is a very fair argument. That is an expensive model, as is the AT-AT for Star Wars. But then I was thinking about, unless you were going to build the Warlord Titan just to show, you'll probably get a better value because you're going to, use it on the battlefield. Though I'm not excusing the price. £1,000 for a model is well up there. It's really expensive. I can't think I could honestly say that it was worth the money, as with this Star Wars AT-AT. But if we go down to the more sensible price range of things that are more likely to be used often, more played, more, the kits and models for both Lego and let's use Warhammer or tabletop gaming in general, the prices are very comparable. I mean, Lego is around about £30 to £50, and so is, Warhammer, and so is tabletop games. Like a box of Chaos Space Marine is going to cost you £37.50, where a nice Lego kit is going to cost you around about 40 quid as well. So there is that, and I was thinking, well, okay, that's not the only thing as well, because there are other hobbies. Now, I'm not going to go into the ones that are excessively expensive, golf, collecting cars, guns, the stuff that's going to cost you a lot straight away. We're talking about more, intermediate hobbies that a lot of people can afford and would do. So the next one I was looking at is comics. And, okay, I collect comics, I've said this before. I collect Spawn, Scorched and King Spawn. My offspring collects Sonic and My Little Pony. Now, fair enough, that's I spend about £20 a month on comics. It's not that much. We don't get a lot, but that's but I do try to make sure that we get the graphic novels, the trade paperback collections, because to me, they kind of read better and they do look better on a bookshelf compared to comics, which are bagged and boarded, unless you're like me, which is a complete heathen and just has them in an A4 folder. And that's when things really started to way up in prices for me. Now, I've never been a fan of expensive codexes. £35 for a codex, £37.50 for a codex is a bit much, in my opinion. And spending £40 for a rulebook, okay, we're getting to a point of, I'm going to just download it at this point. I have several rulebooks. That's another hobby of mine. I actually do collect rulebooks. I have several Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40k, as well as Necromunda, Kill Team, Wild West Exodus, Firefight, Kings of War. I have lots of different rulebooks. I like collecting them, I like reading them. But they tend not to be as expensive as some trade paperbacks, or even some other collecting omnibuses as well. And an example of this one is, like, as I said, I read Spawn. I read a lot of Spawn. In my graphic novel collection, I literally have more Spawn than anything else. That's including anyone bigger, like Batman, Superman. I like Spawn. But I've seen Spawn books go for 30, 40 quid, and they are smaller and thinner, and they're paperback and a codex as well. So even when you compare and continue on that, if you like Marvel, especially like Essentials, or if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to get the old Star Wars comics, which are now in a collected edition, you'll be spending 30 quid for another paperback, and that is really expensive for a paperback book. So even when you look at the book side of the hobby, of stuff like that, Warhammer Tabletop Gaming is one of the cheapest just for the books. And if you're gonna, and like I said, if you like me, collect them all, you're gonna spend less on like codices than you would a complete Star Wars trade paperback collection. Not the small ones, the full omnibuses, not the 6 editions, the full story runs, such as the Star Wars Legends. What Image does is the compendiums, like Spawn Compendium, they have the Darkness Compendium and the Walking Dead. But yeah, so you'll be spending a lot more on that. But on the other end of the spectrum there is of course the manga. Like if you like manga as well, you'll straight away be going, hang about, manga's not that expensive, and it's not. A full run of their omnibuses tend to cost about £15 to £20, so you're costing less, and you are having more pages. You have got more content for less money. Manga is a lot cheaper. So so it depends who you go with. Marvel tends to be a far more expensive and higher price, as with IDW as well. They are very expensive. Like I mentioned before, this Sonic the Hedgehog collection was £60 odd, whereas the Horus Heresy rulebook is 40 quid. So there you go. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about, there's a couple of things, is of course the... No, you don't know what, of course. Of course not, of course. I was talking to myself, which is tables. Right, okay, so that sounds like a really weird start to the... Wargaming, especially tabletop wargaming, there are many collections and many companies and everything like that. So, what I was thinking today, like I was just doing some painting and I was thinking, why don't people play different games? Why is it that most people will only play a single game? I know wargaming can be expensive. It isn't, like I said, it's not a cheap hobby. It can be expensive, but starting a new game, a different game, can be about the same price as a video game. And so I was thinking that you compare a table, a very common piece of furniture, to a games console on the basis that you both play games on them. Most people have a table. You will be paying out about the same price for a brand new video game as you would to start a new game, or maybe 2 games, depends on which ones you're doing. If you're playing Warhammer 40k or Wild West Exodus or Dystopian Wars, you'll be spending about 50 quid minimum to start. For £39 for Wild West Exodus, £45 for a battle fleet in Dystopian Wars, and £37.50 I think is the lowest end for a Custodes army or a Harlequin troop. So you have that. So you do have a start off, and of course the rules are free, so you're not paying anything extra on top. As of certain other games like Firefight, well, Firefight is overall cheaper than Warhammer. If you want a cheap army, you're going to pay £75, which is about the price of a brand new game, but plus £5 or 2 relatively second-hand games. Depends how old you want to go for games. I mean, if you're like me, who's 50th or can make it, there's about 75 games. And of course, I've been looking at Bolt Action today because a lot of people mention it, a lot of people talk about it, and I do keep my ear to the ground on. I do want to try other different things. I think it was like 80 quid for a starting army from them, £86, something like that. So basically, again, about the same price, just over the price of a brand new game, or a couple of second-hand games. Depends on where you go. So having a table, which is something that most people have, I mean, it would be a great time just to try new games in this day and age where there are so many different people, so many different players, and you can just start a new game with your friends and see how they like it. And I think games like Wild West Exodus is great for this because it is a small game, it is a small skirmish game, and a single box will do you well for that. You can therefore build the army up further. And of course there's plenty of starter boxes as well, such as the Kings of War one, War in the Holds. There's Wild West Exodus again. Oh, I love that game. I'm not going to deny it. I'll bring it up a lot because I love the game that much. Showdown at Retribution, Dystopian Wars, Hunt for Prometheus, and of course you've got the new Warhammer 40k boxes coming out, and the Age of Sigmar ones. The Recruit, Command, Ultimate, those boxes. I'm not going to mention the Fire Final Dominion because they were sold out and they're gone now. So those ones. So you've got a place where you can start these new games and try out and something new, which is always a good thing. There's no just hiding behind the same thing that you're very comfortable with. Yeah, sometimes you need to branch out, and there are many different games. And that's it. Now, because this is generally about price, this video is mostly about prices and pricing. My last one is talking about Games Workshop pricing. Now, Games Workshop pricing is slightly more expensive than most. But the old excuse for this was always that Games Workshop models look best. And they did look best. They looked very good. But now they're not the best. And that's the thing. I think now they're not the best. And that's the problem. I think if you're going to spend out money for a game, especially one like Warhammer, if you're going to spend £20 to £30 on a single model, you want the best looking models. You want to have the best looking model. Like if you could get your Space Marine Captain, you want to compare it to something that is just as good, and you want your money to be worth it. However, as of late, I've been looking at other games because that's what I do. The Games Workshop aren't the best looking anymore. I know when I mention Mantic, people go, "No, Mantic's not as good. They use inferior molding techniques, but their models look better." It just shows you they use inferior molding techniques, but they look better. Something's gone wrong with someone. All right. But so that's my Mantic comment. But there are others. As you can guess, because I mentioned comics, I do enjoy comics a lot, and mostly trade paperbacks. I don't actually really, like I said, I buy the ones I buy monthly. I don't tend to buy anything else. But when I do buy trade paperback quite often is Judge Dredd. I love the Judge Dredd files. Yeah, his birthday is the 9th of November. So, if we look at the Judge Dredd models from Mantic Warlord Games, I did say I was going to have a look at this. You have some of the best looking models, and if not one of the best looking models I've ever seen, and that is the special edition miniature with Judge Dredd and Judge Death. That is a fantastic model. That is one of the best models I've ever seen. It really is. It's so fluid. It's just a fantastic model. It's so kinetic. It's so alive. Death looks scary, and Judge Dredd looks like he's gonna just rip out Death's head. He doesn't care about Death's dead. He's gonna kill him again just to make sure. It's a fantastic model. And in the I Am the Law starter set, you have the special, at the moment, the special edition miniature, Judge Dredd, Street Judge, Rookie Judge, and a Block Gang. It's a 57 box because you also get the rules and everything else. But the models are something else. These are the sort of models that I would say would get me into a game because they look so fantastic. I mean, the fact you got Judge Dredd in it as well is something else. But these are such well sculpted models, and I can understand that £56 is quite expensive. But this is a starting game, so this is what you need to start the game, and the judges are massively overpowered because they're the judges, and judges, if you read the comics, are overpowered. But if we look at the standard boxes, there are 13 quid for 3 judges for Justice Department, Riot Control, another 3 fantastic models, £26 for a Megacity Resident Mob, and like Clegg War and everything else. All these fantastic models, are relatively low priced. I mean, there's another one which I like, the Judgment Day deal. You get the Lord Maker Bringer. It's a bike. And that's a fantastic looking bike. That's a nice looking model. And so when people go, oh, Games Workshop's prices are so high because they look so good, I tend to go, wait, what about these? And it's not the only one as well. I will always say that Raw Cradle's models, I've yet to see a bad one. I really have. I'm not even joking. I've yet to see a model which I go, oh, that's just ugly. I don't like that. Every one of his models looks fantastic. And again, they are cheaper than Games Workshop. They are. My favourite model, which I've said is Walks Looking. She's in the Trouble Distribution boxes. Is £39, and they're all named characters. So that's £39 for named characters. For 4 named characters, which is £10 a character. Not even, and even at the cheapest end of Games Workshop, aren't beating that. Though, like I said, it is a posse box. That's all you need. And their cheapest boxes are £20 a squad, which is pretty much on par with Games Workshop. Yet, it's just something else. These models look so much better. And I honestly don't mind spending the extra when they look this good. Like, you have 2 boxes with the jet bikes. You have the Vengeance of the Earps, which is a Wyatt Earp and his brother and his sister. And you have a normal bike box. The normal bike box is a lot cheaper. The named characters are £50. And I was yet to see if you could find a vehicle, like spend £50 on a vehicle or anything like that on Games Workshop and get anything near this quality. And it is higher quality again. The terrain looks better, even though it's a lot cheaper. But it is MDF, which comes with its own issues anyway. And there you go. And I think, as well, basically the whole thing was like prices and tables and buying, your new game and trying something new for once and actually having some better looking models. There's another bike squad there, £45, Contrails Raiders Posse, because they're not as big as Earps, because everyone has heard of Wyatt Earp. There you go, Wild West Iron Horses, 2 for £26. That's £13 each. 3, which makes 2 boxes of these is £52. Yeah, so basically it's cheaper. 4 of these for 20. It's a bike for £13. And Games Workshop, it's £13.50. I believe £13.50. Yeah, £13.50. So it's actually slightly cheaper than Games Workshop. Only slightly. But like I said, it is comparable. But the models look better. That's the thing. The models look better. And that's the thing I've always wanted. I've always said, like, you go where the models, what you look like the look of, and always been something I've been a big fan of doing and talking about. So because when you just buy models because it's powerful, because it's the most, it's the biggest, it's the baddest, it's the one that's going to win you all the games. It's going to win you the games until it doesn't. And that can especially Games Workshop, which is one of the biggest problems I have with them at the moment, is that could be anything from the David Codex drops to even before. Yeah, Outriders are £37.50 for free. So it actually works out, £13.50 each. So yeah, that's my thing, and that's just a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. So what do you think? Okay, what was the first thing? Oh yeah, pricing. Do you think there's other hobbies that are more expensive than tabletop wargaming in general? Do you play other games? Which games do you play? And do you still think Games Workshop have the best looking models out of all of them, or are there better companies out there now? Do you think that's the thing? And when we're going with better looking models as well, we cannot there's STLs, there's 3D printing, and there's companies that just make models now. They don't even make rules, they just make models, and like Cromlech. So what's your opinion on any of those? Just answer the questions down below. I would love to read them. I love reading your comments, always do. And I'll hope to see you all again very soon. Thank you very much for watching Wayland Games, for saving money down below at up to 20% off the Warhammer. They also do other games as well. And there is Forbidden Planet, my merchandise, my cup, which is cups, t-shirts, etc, etc, etc. My comics, and of course Patreon. But as always, treat yourself to something nice rather than just giving me money straight away. I'd rather you treat yourself, and it'd help, everyone benefits there. You get something nice, I get some money, it's great. Bye bye.